And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez.
And welcome to all of our listeners and viewers around the country and around the world.
Juan, before we move on to the Gulf, you have a very interesting column in the New York Daily News today, an expose around big banks and charter schools.
Yes, Amy, one of the things I've been trying now for a couple of years is to try to figure out why is it that so many hedge fund managers, wealthy Americans, and big banks, Wall Street banks, executives of Wall Street banks have all lined up supporting and getting involved in the development of charter schools. And I think I may have come across one of the reasons. There's a lot of money to be made in charter schools. And I'm not talking just about the for-profit management companies that run a lot of these charter schools. It turns out that at the tail end of the Clinton administration in 2000, Congress passed a new kind of tax credit called the New Markets Tax Credit. And what this allows is it gives an enormous federal tax credit to banks and equity funds that invest in community projects in underserved communities. And it's been used heavily now for the last several years for charter schools. And I focused on Albany, New York, which in New York State is the district with the highest percentage of children in charter schools. 20% of the school children in Albany are now attending charter schools. And I discovered that quite a few of the charter schools there have been built using these New Markets tax credits. And what happens is the investors who put up the money to build the charter schools get to basically virtually double their money in 7 years through a 39% tax credit from the federal government. In addition, this is a tax credit on money that they're lending, so they're collecting interest on the loans as well as getting the 39% tax credit. They piggyback the tax credit on other kinds of federal tax credits like historic preservation or job creation or brownfields credits. The result is you can put in $10 million and in 7 years double your money. The problem is that the charter schools end up paying in rents the debt service on these loans, and so now a lot of charter schools in Albany are straining, paying their rent has gone up from $170,000 to $500,000 in a year, or from huge increases in their rents as they strain to pay off these loans, these construction loans, and the rents are eating up huge portions of their total costs, and of course the money is coming from the state. So one of the big issues is that so many of these charter schools are not being audited. No one knows who are the people making these huge windfall profits as the investors, and often there are interlocking relationships between the charter school boards and the nonprofit groups that organize and syndicate the loans, and so there needs to be sunlight on this whole issue. And the state legislature right now is considering expanding charter school caps. But one of the things I press for in my column, there has to be the power of the government to independently audit all of these charter schools, or we're not going to know how public dollars are ending up in the coffers of Wall Street investors.
Well, congratulations on doing this, and we'll continue to expose it as you do.